When I was a kid, I was just funny. I always was sort of putting on my own shows. I would act out I would tell my mother I was in a play at school and I'd act
Mhm.
out the whole thing. And then she'd go to school to find out like when the play was. And my teacher would be like, "We're not doing a play. What are you talking?" Right. Like, so I just always did that. I always sort of
Mhm.
stood up and played different people and told stories and was trying to be funny. And so there wasn't, it's not like there was a stand-up comedy class they could put me in. So they
Right.
put me in like little kid acting stuff. So I did, children's theater and things like that. And then and when I got into high school, I did high school speech, right? I competed
Yeah.
in the forensics, did a little bit of humorous interpretation. I won nationals a few times, like three
That's a
times. Like, it
big
was kind of a big
deal.
deal. Yeah. And
Yeah.
no girl had ever done that. And no one's
Good for
done it
you.
since. No one has ever won
Wow.
back to back national titles since. So
Well,
it's
good for
still a
you.
record that holds, I like to say.
That's really
But
awesome,
it's
actually.
been so I just always did it. And my parents
Mhm.
like saw that I was good at it, right? I had all this sort of success early on, and they were like, and so when I was like, I want to be a performer, they were like, great, we want you to have an education. So I was like, okay. So they sent me to an acting conservatory in Chicago. I went to the theater school at DePaul, which was
Okay.
the Goodman School of Drama.
Mhm.
So all of this sort of stand-up-y stuff that I was doing on the side, because they didn't want me doing that. The acting school didn't want me derailing their
Mhm.
teachings with stand-up. So I had to like sneak around and do open mics and then go to acting class. And so
Yeah.
I always did both. And so it
Okay.
always seemed very organic for me to come out here to Los Angeles and forge my way. I'm a TV person, even though I love,
Mhm.
of course, I would love to be in a million movies. TV is like the medium that I sort of eat all the time. Like I
Mhm.
am a content, you know, groper. I get
Yeah.
it all in, all of it. The dirty stuff, the good stuff, the clean stuff, the bad stuff, the amazing stuff. Like
Yeah.
everything from Octopus Teacher to like Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like I have to see it all.
Yeah.
So because that's sort of my medium,
Mhm.
that's what I came out here to sort of break into
Mhm.
and where my focus has kind of been. And I've been lucky enough to do like 30 episodes of television, which has been
Yeah.
super fun. Yeah, that's why I tell people I'm on one episode of every show you're not watching. But it's
Yeah.
it's been great. For me, like I've gotten to work with amazing people that I dreamed of working with when I was, a kid or younger or, just
Mhm.
earlier in my career. Just it's been great.
So, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where would you like to be?
Um I mean, I want to be on TV. I want to have my
Yeah.
own sitcom that I am the star of, that is all where I got the biggest trailer and it's all about me. And I work with an incredible ensemble of actors and comedians and writers that are at the top of their game as well. And really, I want it to be, I don't want it to, I want, while I want the show to be about me in the sense of like,
Mhm.
it's my sitcom, I want it to also be an ensemble show. I want to work with people that are better than me so that I get better. I want to
Yeah.
work with amazing people. I really do. And
Mhm.
so I'm very excited at the prospect of that. I wrote a pilot that we're sort of, there's a writer's strike happening right now. So it's
Yeah,
everything is in flux. But I'm
yeah.
I'm very excited about the tour I have coming up and the
Mhm.
material that I'm getting to work out and the stories that I get when I go on the road that I get to then put into the TV show because it's
Yeah.
about a comedian. So it's really fun for me to also get to cultivate this material sort of on its feet. I didn't realize that. And when I was doing stand up just in Louisiana, so sort of right after college,
Mhm.
um, I was kind of a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
And then you leave Louisiana and you realize, oh, those jokes I told about Louisiana don't really go very well when I'm playing in Phoenix. So I
Right.
need to adjust, and so that's sort of like learning curve. And it
Mhm.
gets better. Like when you start hanging out with other comedians or really getting into sort of other comedians and sort of appreciating it, even from a fan perspective, like watching a lot of the comedians you like and seeing how they work is
Hmm.
so very educational. And so it
Yes.
helps you get better, even if you don't
Hmm.
realize it. And comedy is a muscle. And the only
Yeah.
way you get better at comedy is by working out that muscle. So if you can get on stage, even if you feel like you're not, even if you feel like you're kind of sucking every time, or you feel like God, it's not getting any better, or I'm not really what, whatever that is, if you still get up there and do it, you're working the muscle. And eventually there will be that break where you go, oh, that was good. That one felt really good because you remember, I gotta, thank God I recorded that. You know what I mean? And so you gotta remember what you said and say it that way again. And what about that time was funny? And why was the timing of it different that time? So it's one of those art forms that can also be very tedious because
Hmm.
I end up listening to myself say the same thing a lot of different ways in the
Yeah.
course of a week if I'm working on a bit or a piece of
Hmm.
material. Right now, I'm trying to hone out a Tonight Show set. I want to get on the Tonight Show
Mm.
and do a short set, but that I'm used to doing 75 minutes.
Right.
My show is 75. So now they want me to do a 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
how do I whittle down who I am and what my voice is and my perspective and give, middle America, the people who are watching the Tonight Show, how do I give them a 4 to 5 minute slice of me that is TV clean and still just as funny as the things I'm going to say in a 75-minute set,
Yeah.
and for it to
Yeah.
have that beginning and middle and end, it's crafting a whole new beast. And I've
Yeah.
never done it. I have never taken it is because it's such its own animal. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think I did a couple of comedy competitions early in my career where I had to do just 3 to 5 minutes, but
Hmm.
oh my gosh, like at the time that was probably all I had that was really funny because I was so, what I mean, I probably only had
Yeah.
15 minutes of really good stuff to even choose from, so picking out
Right.
five wasn't a big deal. It was fun. And
Right.
then, as you moved on in the competition, you got to do more time, so by the time I was in the finals, all 15 minutes were getting used. It was pretty exciting,
Yeah.
but that was, I mean, that was so early on. and and
Hmm.
and now, and I really kind of jumped. I didn't they when I found out what a headliner made and then what a feature made, I was like, who can afford to be a feature? You're making half the money. You're doing the same travel, the same. No. So I just
Yeah.
told bookers I was a headliner. So I sort of they were like, you have that much material? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't worry about me. Just watch. And thank God I just can do crowd work. And I got in there and I did my little 15 minutes. And then the rest of the show was 30 minutes of crowd work and I killed it. And so I was just a headliner. I skipped being a feature altogether. And it was really because I couldn't afford to take the crap money that it was. I was like, no,
Right.
I can't make 100. I need to make the $200. That's got to
Hmm.
be me. I got to make the money,
Yeah.
even if I'm not really ready to do that. And so I was very lucky that I'm quick on my feet. And that was just all that
Yeah.
working out, all that improv stuff that I did in college and all that
Mhm.
education my mom and daddy made me get. And so it was paying off. And so I was really getting to do the things I wanted to do and go the places I wanted to go. And I was able to afford to do it because, I had this skill. So what if it ever wasn't going well? I thought, what can I do? How can I stay me, but get them to come with me to see
Right.
what I'm doing so that they get the message that I want to get across? But clearly it needs to just be funnier. I've got to, it's, if you can say anything you want to say if they're laughing. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no secret to this. If
Hmm.
you're funny enough, people will sit there and listen to you make fun of them. You could be talking about them and they will sit there and laugh the whole way through it because it's that funny. That's the kind of
That's
funny I
cool.
want to be. I want to be able to
Yeah.
say the look, I am left of left. I am a big liberal snowflake. But also I was raised around Hicks. And so so I also, like while I, I don't, I believe there should be gun laws. There will be one in my glove box, of my electric car. But I mean, like, right, there's like that sort of cowboy,
Hmm.
country girl side to me. And so I think because of that, these are two worlds that I want to bring together, right? I feel
Yeah.
like the people who don't like gay people or progressive people or liberals, they say it like it's such a bad word, and they don't like those kind of people because they don't know those kind of people. Those kind of people aren't in their life. They aren't in their circle. They certainly aren't on their
Yeah.
friends list on the Facebook. So
Yeah.
because we've all sort of segregated away from each other, which is exactly what they wanted us to do. So because we did that so very readily, and look, I believe me, you don't understand how many of the Tea Party. I was like, these people got to go. I get, I get, I get it. I get why we separated, but
Hmm.
also there has to be some way for us to come back together, and that way is by laughing at it. This is
Yeah.
all we have all been through this same insanity. We all went through this the craziness we all went through collectively, not just as like a state or a community or a country, as a world, as a
Hmm.
human population. The entire world went
Yeah.
through thing this thing that worked its way through everybody. We were all in the same boat all of a sudden. And because of that, it was, again, much easier for us all to segregate because we were all
Hmm.
screaming sort of inside of our own little bubbles because we
Yeah.
were trapped at home. And so everything became, everything exploded. I mean, all I can say is I just felt like the whole world was on fire for like
Hmm.
2 years.
Yeah.
And I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't stop. I couldn't turn my TV off. I couldn't turn my brain off. I was trapped in my house with my dog, just like, smoking weed and taking mushrooms and hoping for the best. Like, like, so that, but what kept me going was laughing with people, was all these
Hmm.
Zoom shows we started doing, and that reconnection I was able to make with people, and that being able to hear people laugh at something I was saying about this crazy thing we were going through, and hearing other people say like, oh my god, I did that too, or yes, I was also crying in a grocery store when I realized there was no more cheese whiz. Like, what were we all going through during that? And how can we let that bring us back together? And
Yeah.
so because I think we're all coming out of that, right? We're all starting to go to things again. We're all starting to sort of rejoin the world. The the fear of other people is dissipating, if not, gone completely.
Hmm.
And so I feel like, yeah, I'm starting to flake on plans again. I'm starting to be like, look, you missed the window where I was really happy to see people, and now I'm just over it again. And so you're gonna have to wait until maybe after the next lockdown because the window's shut. So it just
Yeah.
it amazes me. But I really think that any moment during that where I felt awful or like, oh God, is this, what are we gonna do? I really was able to connect with other people and laugh and get through it. There were parts of it that I loved and embraced. I was, part of me was like, oh my God, I was built for this. Everything's getting delivered to my door, and I can just lay on this couch and watch TV all flipping day in my sweats, and nobody's gonna see me. And P.S. I can feel good about it because I'm saving people's lives. Because what I'm doing is not going outside and spreading the disease. Look at me, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a part of it that was also euphorically great for me.
Hmm.
So I think the the stumbles and the falls and the sort of moments where I was like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna go? Were really questions of are we going to survive?
Yeah.
It was never like, will I be a successful comedian, or I don't think
Yeah.
this is my path, or should I be doing something else? It's really never been that. It was like, oh God, is there going to be a comedy club for me
Yeah.
to perform at? Well, how are we going to do? Am I just performing for my dog in my living room now for the rest of time? How is this? It was that. And look, I could tell you a bunch of stories where you'd be like, oh my God, that happened to you, and I'd be like, yeah, right, like just jerky club owners and things male comedians have said or done, or things
Mm.
headliners said to me early in my career that you're like, oh, but the truth is that all of that rolled off of me. None of that
Mhm.
stuck with me or stuck to me in any way that does anything to me other than motivate me to keep going on this road, right? I
Mhm.
have something to say and I want to say it. And so no one's going to stop me from doing that. And what I want to do is to find the way to do that attracts the most people, that,
Yeah.
that brings the most people together, that makes the most people come up to me and tell me that their face hurt because they were laughing so hard, or like, oh my, I had to send that to my aunt Jenny because oh my, she loves Girl Scout cookies and she just died when she's gonna love this, right? Or whatever it is, like whatever I'm talking about that resonates with people, and it gets spread, or it goes viral, or it gets
Mhm.
40,000 hits in one day, and I'm like, what, how did that happen? What did I don't even know what I said that made 40,000 people respond to it, but yay, whatever it was. And what I have to do is also keep myself in a space where I'm available to be my authentic self and to feel
Yeah.
relaxed and comfortable enough and live enough life that I have stuff to say, right? Get out. I can't just sit in my living room and do nothing all day. I have to get out into the world. I have to go have experiences and travel and do all the things that make a person happy and well adjusted, and a living viable part of their life and their community, and then come back and tell you all the ways that I messed it up and all the ways that the universe conspired against me, or all the ways everything lined up and it all went smooth, and you're not even going to believe this happened, but it did. Like there's so many different ways that this all unfolds, and
Mhm.
and I feel like what I did was I made my mess my message, right? There's a who said that? That lady on the Today Show, Robin. I'm talking about, black
I
lady,
can't think of
short
her
hair,
name.
lesbian. She had some form of cancer and then got over it real quick.
Yeah.
Robin, somebody, maybe.
I
Anyway,
can't think of her name
we'll get the
either.
producer to insert that right here in the podcast, in the video. But that's what she says, is you have to make your mess your message. Like whatever you have
Yeah.
going on, whatever brings you joy, whatever fulfills you, whatever is right for you, that's what you have to go do. And it's not always something creative. It's not always something fun. My best friend is an accountant. And I'm telling you, this bitch loves numbers. I've never seen anything like it. She is, little girl, tax season. She is the happiest you've ever seen. Happy, happy, so happy. Overworked, overtired, constantly has a glass of wine in her hand. But that girl is doing books. She is clicking the numbers, and she is happy. That is what she likes doing. And let me tell you something. That girl has one of the most beautiful singing voices I've ever heard. She could
Mm.
easily go on American Idol or on, whatever, uh, The Voice, and win one of these. I'm telling you, this girl can blow when it comes to singing. But that's not what she does. She does that sometimes when she needs to feel that. But what brings her joy and what fulfills her every day, because it also brings her financial stability, because she's also a bougie bitch and she likes nice things, nice purses, and nice meals, and likes getting her hair blown out and her nails done, and right, all these long haired girls. Ugh. So, and I say that to you with love. But she has so much maintenance to even her, right? That what brings her joy is being an accountant. And I love that. I love that she's not like, I need to go be a singer. I need to go follow this dream. Even though I'm sure at some point in her life, that was her dream. But now she's like, look, I'm 40 years old. I'm really good at this accounting. She's really good at it. She's like the CFO of a freaking company, right? The
Yeah, that's
Percy girl, who's just
awesome.
my friend, like is running things somewhere. And it's
Yeah.
because she figured out what she was good at, and that's what she does, right? And so this just happens to be what I'm good at. But
Yeah.
whatever you're good at, find the joy in it. My little brother went to medical school. He did it. He liked it. It didn't. But you know what he was really good at? He was really good at selling. He was like selling. He was getting He was buying like vintage Rolexes and flipping them on eBay and like making all this money. And he was really good at it. So now the kid is the CFO at a car dealership because that's what he's good at. He makes tons of money, way more than his pediatrician wife, but it's because he figured out what he was good at. And even though that wasn't like necessarily his dream job, because it's what he's good at, he likes doing it. He enjoys doing it. He certainly enjoys the perks, the stability, and the financial,
Yeah.
perks to it. So because of that, he made his message, and he's not
Hmm.
spending his life going, oh, if only I'd gotten into medical school, or if only I'd been able to pass my boards or become a surgeon, or
Right.
blah 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 blah. And there's so many people that do that. They
Yeah.
spend their lives they're in survival mode all the time because they're
Hmm.
just trying to get through, because there's this thing and that's, you can't do that. Lovely window of time where I'm not getting my touring and my live performances are not going to get interrupted by TV stuff or movie stuff. And I was about to literally go shoot 2 movies in North Carolina that I had gotten cast in. So hopefully those things are just on hold and not,
Yes.
dead or anything. But
Yeah.
I think because I know that I'm going to have this chunk of time, what I'm
Mm.
really excited about is getting to use this time to do the work, to come up with a new hour of stand up. I just taped a special at the beginning of April in Las Vegas that I think is going to be on Netflix later
Ooh,
this year or early next year.
that's
Brad Garrett
exciting.
Presents is doing it, so I don't know what platform he's sending it to. It could go to Amazon. He could launch a platform. I don't know, but
I'll have to
uh,
keep my eye out for that.
it'll be somewhere on the streaming internets. Um, but because I did that, because I feel like, okay, great. Now that all that material that I loved so much that, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
that's done. Now I can concentrate on a whole new hour that I want
Yeah.
to for the next special, right? So I'm so excited to have this time to really work on that material, to really get to do a lot of live shows, to really get to do a lot of more video content. I'm also really getting into, I got a new tripod that has like a little arm on it. And so I can control it from my seated position. So I
Ooh.
was like, oh, look at me from over here. Okay. And it's like moving like a little robot. And I'm like, oh, this is the angle, this up angle pointed down. Look at my chin. Look at the right. Like, so I'm loving that. My friend Jeff D, who is going to also be on tour with me, he's my opener on the road, is going to film school. So we're going to be getting to tape and make fun videos. And he knows all these little tricks and has all these fun effects and stuff. And he actually has weird lenses and stuff for his iPhone. So we're going to have a great time making silly videos and doing some Patreon stuff that we get going while we're on tour. So I'm excited about that. And then, once the business picks back up, I'm very excited I wrote a pilot. So I'm very excited to get my pilot out there. I wrote a screenplay. I'm very excited to get my screenplay out there.
That's
I'm also very
exciting.
excited to get these movies that I got cast in, filmed and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think that the next year is going to be a lot of work. This is sort of and
Mhm.
this is the fun part, right? This is where the work gets done, before you get to this is like while Miley was making bangers, right? Like she knows it's this amazing album, but we don't know yet. So she's like trying it out at like little parties and seeing, and everybody's loving it. But
Yeah.
that's the fun part. So that's where we are. We're making bangers. That's what we.
Yes.
I'm so
I
glad you
love
got
that.
that reference. but it's true. Like, you know what I mean? It's so making a
Yeah.
new hour of stand up is like cutting an album, right? There's all these
Yeah.
pieces of it, and it's
What is some of the best advice that you have received that you would like to pass on to maybe younger comedians that are just starting out?
be yourself. I didn't know what that meant the first time someone said it to me. I was like, what does that even mean? Be of course I'm myself. How am I? How could I not be myself? What the hell are you even talking about? But it's about like embracing all of the parts of yourself. And even that part that you think you shouldn't talk about, that part that you think nobody's good, that's, if you're a comedian, that's the part that should probably be talking. So, or should at least have some voice in what you're saying. And so it really is about sort of embracing the dark sides of you. Comedians oftentimes can just find humor in places where it is not appropriate. It does not belong. And and because that's how our minds work. Comedians have very special brains. This is what I always say in my act. I have a special brain. It does, when I hear something, I don't hear it like a normal, polite member of society. I hear it like a comedian. I hear it like someone who needs to judge it and analyze it and tell you why it's wrong, tell you why it's right. Like, look at it from all sides. Like that, right? Like, that's what my brain is doing. And so, because I have found humor in really dark, awful places, but I know that about myself, and I know that there's a way to make that funny. There's a way to make that palpable. Not every time, not for every audience, but there are moments and times and places to say
Mhm.
everything I want to say.
Yes.
And so that's also very satisfying for me. So learning to be yourself, learning whatever your voice is, whatever opinion you have, no matter how unpopular you think it is, no matter whatever, that being yourself is the key to any of it. Because the truth is that because we're all comedians, we think of the same jokes. I've literally
Mhm.
been like, oh, I have a joke like that. Listening to someone else on stage, like, well, it's not the same. We're just two people that thought of the same thing, right? It's not like nobody stole it from anybody, but you're like, shit. But how do I take that joke and make it so mine, make it so about me, make it so integral to this story about me that I'm telling, that it's not some Rolodex joke that anybody
Yeah.
could have thought of. It's
Mhm.
been eaten by this bigger story that I have to tell. So if you can be yourself, any part of what you find funny, any part of you that you want to express, you can. And that's the key to it. Because when you're up on that stage, you better be confident and secure and comfortable in yourself, because if that audience senses anything else, they will eat you. They are not nice. It's like being a
Yeah.
gladiator. I say it all the time. That's why that stool's up there with me, in case one of these lions gets out. You have to get up there and know yourself, and know what you can say, and know what you should say, and know what's going to be funny. Ultimately, you're there to make people laugh. That's what it is. So just be
Mhm.
yourself. When you're authentic and you're genuine, I get away with saying some pretty awful, risque things, but it's because people like me. They feel
Mhm.
right. They feel I'm not menacing, even though I'm
Right.
strong. I'm not. I'm soft in a way. Like there's a little doughy likability here, like a little doughboy thing, and you're not. You get it. You get that I'm being funny with it. You don't
Mhm.
really think I'm gonna go hurt anybody. So I think
Mhm.
that if you can be yourself, be yourself, be yourself, and I'm sure that carries over in all aspects of life to be a helpful thing. But to know who you are and to not be afraid to be that, no matter what other people tell you, because you don't. I mean, I get told all the time, John, can you be less gay? Can you be less feminist? Can you be less political? Can you be less this? And the answer to those questions, of course, is yes, I can. but do I choose to? Right. And there are
Right. It's like, do
instances
I
where
want to be though?
there are instances where I do. There are instances where I'm like, okay, look, I'm playing at this theater. They would like me to not drop F bombs, right? Like just, keep it
Okay. Yeah.
little PG-13. Is that how I'd like to do it? No. But is it how I'm gonna do it? Yeah. Because I'm making a lot of money. There's a comma in that check. I'm gonna do what they ask me to do because that's what this job is. I do plenty of jobs where I get to say MF this and all day long. I can say whatever I want and I get to do that. So it doesn't bother me when someone asks me to do something else. Now,
Mhm.
if I feel like you're asking me not to do it because, as a club owner, because you don't think your audience can hear gay or, anything about, then I'm going to tell you to take that and just
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for your input. And that's not going to affect me, you know.
Yeah.
But, but there are parameters with any job, right?
Mhm.
If you're a a guy who mows lawns, but I wanted to mow it into a square. Well, that's not what I need. I need my lawn mowed into this octagonal shape. That's the shape of my lawn. I'm sorry that you like to do squares, but this is what I need for this job. And you adjust, of course. That's
Yeah.
what you do in any job. So I'm not upset to do it, but
Mhm.
that's because I know myself and I know I'm capable of what they're asking me to do. And so I can still be myself. I can still be just as caustic or just as funny or just as energetic or any of those things if there are 5-year-olds in the room, if I'm being funny in front of a family, the same way I can in front of, a group of gay men that are on a cruise, like whatever, you know, adult themes that entails. And
Yeah.
so, and it's because I can be myself and I know
Mhm.
that I am funny. So
Yeah.
whatever iteration of that is coming is fine. I'm going to be funny. You're going to laugh. Nobody's going to leave here like, God, that Jen Kober is, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. I've worked too hard for that to happen. And so,
Mhm.
because I know that, because I know that what I'm doing is, I know I have things that can appeal to 5-year-olds. I know I have things that appeal to teenagers. I do shows here in Santa Monica, um, at a club, and they do a show for 13 to 18-year-olds. And I go in there and I do my material. They're just people. You just cut out the
Mhm.
F bombs and don't talk about drugs and you're fine. Like you know what I mean? They're just people.
Yeah.
They are seeing the same TV and the same living in the same world that we all are. Just talk to them.
Mhm.
And so being yourself in anything, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. I can't say it enough. It is literally the key to everything. And if you and it really does just mean knowing ask yourself the questions. What do I like? What does bring me joy? What angers me? What upsets me? What gets me going? What doesn't? What issues don't appeal to me? Why don't they appeal to me? What does and why does it? Like knowing those things about yourself and then educating yourself on what you don't know and really making yourself well-rounded, well-read, well-educated, well-conversed, well-traveled, all of these things. You're never going to be sorry that you poured energy into yourself.
Yeah. That was so great. Thank you. That was some really great advice.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
coming to
sharing.
my Gen Talk. For auditions, I make myself cue cards because I can't memorize things. So I need little cheat sheets. And then after I do it a couple of times, I stop looking at the cheat sheets and I look where I'm supposed to look, and then it's done. So my prep for auditions is very technical that way.
Mhm.
Um, because I'm self-taping it, right? So the actual like prep for it in that way is that the emotional prep and the sort of character prep on it happens right when I first get the script and I read it and I sort of start thinking about it, and then I'll go like watch an episode of the show or
Mhm.
watch something that if it's something that hasn't been on, they'll be like, oh, it's in the tone of this, so I go watch that so I get what they're going for, and then I
Mhm.
just make a bold choice. I try to like if they're bringing me in for this, they wanted me to be what? Big and Southern, uh, butch and gay, soft and silly. Like what were they looking for from me by
Right.
calling me in for this part? And then I try to do that. My prep for shows is a little bottle. I like a little bottle of apple juice and half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then I'm
Mm,
good to go for almost anything that has to do with performing.
that's awesome. I love that. Apple juice. I haven't had apple juice in so long, but
Oh
it
my
was my
gosh,
favorite drink as a kid.
yeah, it is so comforting when I travel. That's what I do. I gotta have a little apple juice that's what I get at the airport: a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an apple juice. Sometimes I get some Ruffles or a Snicker bar,
Ooh.
but always the peanut butter and jelly sandwich and the apple juice. And it just it makes me feel better. I'm getting on an airplane. If it's,
Yeah.
you never know how
How do
that's
you
gonna go. So let's
True.
be in my happy place.
How do you feel about Uncrustables? Do you like those peanut butter and jelly
I've
sandwiches?
never had one, but I can't
Yeah.
imagine I would not like it because
You should
I
try
am
them.
literally a person that I like, remember the peanut butter and jelly that comes in the same jar? And I think it's called Goobers, and you can I just put a spoon in that. I am so not picky about my PB&J, so
You should try Uncrustables. They're a game changer, I think,
I'm
personally.
down. I'm totally down.
Highly
Totally.
recommend. But another question for you. If you could have dinner with any comedian, who would it be and why?
If I could have dinner with any comedian, it would probably be Dave Chappelle. I mean, just I feel like I have so many things to talk about with him, and
That is a popular answer.
I would really want to know his, because I've been very disappointed lately in this sort of weird anti-trans thing that he's had kind of going on. And so
Ooh.
I feel like I would really, and I've really been thinking about but what would I say to him about it? Why do I not like it? What's the right? Like, because I've been having that sort of talk with myself in my own head. That's what came to my head when you said that.
Mhm.
But are we dead or alive? Or is this only
Yeah, I
alive?
think anyone. I think anyone at all.
If we go dead or alive, I would want to have dinner with Gilda Radner. She was on the original cast of Saturday Night Live. I just remember watching old Saturday Night Live episodes and just, oh, she was so funny. She did this little girl character she was a brownie, and I was also a brownie while I was watching it. And so it made me laugh so hard. I thought she was, I didn't, I didn't know. Oh, I was happy. I was happy watching her. I loved watching her, and I would love to, because she died way before I would have ever even come up to talk to her.
What has been your highlight over the last year or the past few years? Like, what would you say has been your biggest highlight?
Doing The Mandalorian was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I was not a Star Wars fan per se. I mean, I'd seen the first three movies and had heard of The Mandalorian. I think I saw an episode or two because my nieces were watching it on Disney Plus one day, and um, but but to be on that set in that world, immersed in all of that stuff, with the pew pews and
Yeah.
there's droids and there's robots and there's big
Yeah.
things, and Pedro Pascal is there and all this stuff. Like it was very, it was very overwhelming. Like it was
Mhm.
very breathtakingly exciting. And Bryce Dallas Howard directed the episode. Who, I mean, like, what is okay? I was just blown away by that. I'm such a fan of her work. And so to have her, and John Favreau was on the set, so that was amazing. And then when I got to see it, right? Like I thought it looked good. I thought I looked cool in the costume, whatever. And I'm saying all this words that I mean, I had to watch videos on how to pronounce stuff because it was all this Star Wars talk, right?
Yeah.
Talk about things in the Nepenthe and the galaxy and the blah, blah, blah. It was
Yeah.
Chinese to me. So I
All
was
the
like,
Star Wars
okay.
jargon.
So to have watched myself do it was, oh, it was so awesome. And when I
Yeah.
watched it, I was like, oh my God, I'm really good. Like, I want you to see it. If you don't have Disney Plus, I'll give you my mama's username and
I
password. I'm telling
do.
you. It is,
I'll check it
I
out.
want people to see it. It's so good. It came out I don't think I've ever been that happy with how it came out, right? You're
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, that's okay. Well, that wasn't the funniest take, but okay. Or you think, oh, they cut out the part where I said this, and that was so funny, or you know what I mean? But when I
Yeah.
saw this, I was like, I'm awesome. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I really was like a 5-year-old seeing themselves in Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
it was that exciting to me. And so that was just a really big highlight. It really felt
Yeah.
good. And I got lots of great press off of it because
Mhm.
I didn't realize that there had never been any fat people on Star Wars
Oh.
in the Star Wars universe. So in that particular episode, it was me, Lizzo, and Jack Black. So apparently they were like, let's put all the fat people into the same episode. So we got all of this press about I got all this fan mail from fat Star Wars fans who were so excited to have somebody to cosplay now. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. So I'm going to be a
it
Halloween
is.
costume. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the most
Yeah.
exciting thing that's ever happened to me. So just a huge highlight all around. I gained lots of amazing fans who I think never would have seen me before otherwise. I get asked daily by, can I please get your autograph on this picture? I have a helmet. Will you sign this Mandalorian helmet? Okay. you know like, so these Star Wars fans are not joking around. This is very serious to them, and
Yeah.
it's very serious to me. Like, I'm into it now too. I started like, oh, the story of this particular character series, The
Mhm.
Mandalorian, is so good, and I'm so invested in it now, and that little baby Yoda is so flippin' cute.
I
And
know.
so I can't stop myself from, like, I would definitely say that was the big highlight.
Yeah, that is super exciting. That's awesome. Another question. Is there something that not many people know about you that you think they should?
That not many people know about me, but they should. God, I'm such an open book. I feel like, what could that even be? I mean, I guess it's probably something about, like, the softer side. I love kids. I really do. Like, I sort of complain about them a lot, but I really do, like, adore hanging out with children. I love hanging out with my little nieces, and getting to play and be playful and be at the trampoline park, and
Mm.
acting the fool and such. So just that it's not all, I'm not always on, right? I'm not always being funny. I'm not always, energetic and happy to be doing things and cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just a soft little bear living my life, trying to be quiet, or those kind of things. So I think
Yeah.
maybe that's something, I don't know that people should know that about me, but I can't think of anything else they wouldn't know, because I just talk about everything in my life, like literally doctor's appointments. So I
Mhm.
mean, I can't imagine, what else that would be.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. No worries. That I still think that's a great answer. I love that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got for you today. I have really enjoyed chatting with you. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. I
Do you have
appreciate it.
any other closing remarks or anything that else
Well,
you'd like to share
just
with the
if I know that when people go to see comedy, they want to vet the comedians first. So you want to make sure that who you're seeing is funny. So if you check me out on YouTube, you just plug in my name, and a bunch of funny stuff comes up. Also, I have a website, jenkober.com, where people can check out my full tour schedule. I'm doing 26 cities in 30 days in the month of June. It's a
wow.
little insane. And then, of course, I have shows. I'm off the month of July, because I had saved that for the movies I was supposed to be making. So I'm just going to take the month off and just take it as like a sign that I needed to rest. I'm sure I will do lots of local shows here in Los Angeles and such.
Yeah.
And then in August, my tour picks back up. I'm in Italy. I am in
Mm.
North Carolina. I'm in New Jersey. I'm all over the place for the rest of the year. And I think my calendar goes through next summer. So, I mean, I've got a lot of gigs. I'm going to a lot of places, and we add shows every week. So check that website and check it often. Join me on the social medias, anywhere you listen to podcasts and platforms and all those things. You put in my name and check me out because I'm all over the place.
Yes, yes, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today. It has truly been such a pleasure to
Thank you so
chat with
much.
you and learn from you.
I'm going to just leave it with your calming voice. I'm just going to, from now on, I'm just going to, goodbye. Thank you. This was lovely.
Yes,
You're so
thank you.
calming. Thank you for being so calming. Now I don't
Well,
have to, now I can go take my nap accordingly.